Warning, this video is long. If you do not like sitting through 30 plus minutes of interesting, thoughtful storytelling with clips and pics, click off now. Other than that, enjoy.
What up everybody, it's your boy Charles and I'm back with another video. Alright, so today's video, I'm not going to be doing a reaction, I'm not going to be doing a review, a mukbang. Today's video, I am going to be doing a story time. So I believe in my last video I mentioned that I live in LA trying to work towards my dreams and things like that. So my first season of the Chronicles of Awkward Say Black Boy, I mentioned that I got accepted into Biola University. So yesterday I opened up my email and I read it and I saw that I got accepted to Biola. Biola University is a Bible school located in La Mirada, California. It's just like, 30 minutes outside of downtown LA, and it was an interesting experience. Very, very interesting experience. I'm not going to say that I hated it. I will say that it was very eye-opening for me. Very, very eye-opening for me, and I realized and I found out a lot of things about myself. The reason why I went to Biola is one, okay, I live in Michigan. It is freaking cold here all the time, and I do not like the cold. Like, okay, yeah, I was born in the winter, I was born in December, but I can't stand the cold. I like to be hot at all times. Cold is not for me, okay? One thing. Another thing, LA, I've never been to California at this point. Never even visited California, never been to LA, never even visited the school. I found out about this school on a website, okay? Never even been to California. I was like, you know what, why don't I just apply just to, just to see, what's up. So, never been to California, always thought it was cool. So yeah, that's another reason. And the third reason is, well, no, there's multiple reasons. I don't know how many reasons, but the third reason is because it was near LA, and I'm interested in film and things like that. So I went there because LA, was a perfect place for what I want to do and what I want to go into. So I was like, okay, this is perfect, this is great, I'm going to California to live out my dreams like everybody else, but this school really helped. The fourth reason I wanted to go there is because it was a Christian school, it was a Bible school, and I thought I could recreate my experience at IHOP during this time. And was I in for a rude awakening, because it was not quite the same experience, okay? So first of all, Biola is a Bible school. Everybody is a Bible minor. Like, everybody that goes to the school is a Bible minor. They have to take Bible classes no matter what. Like, that's a requirement to graduate from the school. You have to take a Bible class. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Do that. And then, of course, you have your majors as well. So, and I was like, okay, this is going to be a breeze. This is going to be cool. So anyway, I leave IHOP, and, I get my first kind of like bill notice or whatever. And I'm like, whoa, how in the world am I going to pay this? Like, it was a lot of money. It was a lot of money, okay? And I was like, okay, I don't think I'll be able to go in the fall. So I contacted them. I let them know, I don't really have the money right now, because I think they gave me scholarships and things like that. But I still had a lot to pay out of pocket. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna go in the winter. And they were like, okay. So I stayed here. I worked 2 jobs. I was busy. I literally worked 7 days a week. Like, I had no off days at all. Working my butt off. And so I was working, and then, you know what? I got enough money to go to Biola. So in January of 2015, I went. And by the way, I went to Biola 2 separate semesters, so I didn't go like a full like year or whatever. Like I went 2 different semesters, and I'll get to the reason why. And plus, I mentioned this in season 2 of Chronicles of My Save Black Boy, and if you haven't watched that yet, please, it will bless you. I'm gonna put a link in the description box below. But anyway, okay. So I went in January 2015, and you know, that's an odd time. That's an odd time to, you know, first start a new school, you know, a little new location. You know, my dad came with me, flew out with me to LA. We stayed in LA. I first never ever been to California. Okay, I went out, you know, on a whim. You know, out of nowhere, I was just like, you know, I'm just gonna do this. Is like a big leap for me, you know, to go to a completely different city that I've never been to, where I don't know anybody. Like, it was just like wild. So my dad came with me. You know, we stayed in a hotel in LA, and then the next day I registered. You know, like, you know, I got my dorm room key. I met. I think I did meet one of my roommates. I had 2 roommates, guys. There's 3 of us in this tiny dorm room. Okay, crazy. Anyway, I met my roommate. You know, got situated. Met, you know, the RAs on the floor. Like, you know, I was like, okay, this is going to be very interesting. This is going to be very interesting. And then I had to do like some transfer student things because I was transferring in as a sophomore. So I had to do some transfer activities and things like that, and I was like, wow, this is going to be really cool. And I met some really cool people, and I became cool with a few people. Like, we became really good friends. Like, you know, it was cool. Like, you know, it was like that day I felt like, okay, I'm gonna be like, this is gonna be so much fun. It's gonna be great, you know. So school starts, and I'm like, okay. Get through the first day, the first week or whatever. I'm like, okay, this is very interesting. You know, first of all, I don't see, and I feel like I should have known this like in the beginning, but I was like, I don't see a lot of black people. One thing, okay, there were black people on the banner, the flyers and stuff, but at the school, oh my gosh, I kid, like, literally, I don't even think I saw maybe one other black person on campus, but to be completely honest, like, I didn't. Well, there was like, in my transfer team, I think there were like 2 other transfer students. I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, there were not a lot of black people. Another thing, okay, and I'm not judging because I know I listen to secular music. But on my floor, there were kids playing, like, you know, Ray Shremmerd, and like the explicit version, like, you know, all of the, you know, the nasty bad words and stuff. I'm not judging, but I was like, okay, that took me off guard. That really did take me off guard because, you know, I wasn't expecting to be hearing this, but like, they were playing like really explicit stuff, and I was like, whoa, and very loud too at night. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? This doesn't seem right. And so I was like, okay, whatever. And so they have chapels and things, and, you know, one of my classmates reached out to me and was like, I heard that you're new here, you know, let's get a meal together sometime. I'm like, okay, cool. You know, people seem cool. You know, I had somebody I hung out with almost like every night, you know, went out, got a meal, you know, at the cafe, the cafeteria, and, you know, all that. And I was like, okay. And of course, the transfer kids, we would all, like, you know, meet up from time to time. We would hang out even outside of school, you know, and all that. I was like, okay, this is cool. And so then as time went on, of course, the transfer kids, they met their own friends, and, you know, they met people and things like that. Now, me, it is so hard for me to make new friends unless you approach me first. Like, I'm shy, I'm awkward. It's hard for me to branch out and, you know, meet new people. It's difficult for me. But, you know, if you reach out to me and you take an effort to get to know me, I'm cool, okay? I'm not afraid to, like, I'm a cool guy. Like, I'm chill, like, I'm fun to be around, like, I'm cool, okay? Like, and I love people. I love having, like, I love relationships, you know. It's about, like, I really, really, really do deep down love friends, and I love people, okay? But it's hard for me, you know. It's so hard, and I'm an introvert too, so it's just so difficult, you know, for me to make friends in the beginning, because I can be really, really quiet. I can come off as not very outgoing, and you know, it's because that's just who I am. That's just how I am. But if you approach me and take the time to actually talk to me, get to know me, carry on a conversation with me, you know, we are cool. It's just difficult for me to actually branch out and reach out. So I was starting to feel a little lonely, like, oh my gosh, you know, like, my transfer friends, they're making new friends, and like I can't, like, I was depending on them, and like I was just like, oh gosh, like, what am I doing, you know? And like, even from time to time, like in the beginning, like, me and the transfer friends, we would go, we would visit churches together and things like that. But they started making their own friends, so it was like, okay, things are changing. So I was like, you know what? I need to find some black people. So I was on the hunt, like, I was searching for like a black student union or something. And so then I came across, they had a black student. At that time, it was called BSA, Black Student Association. It was called Black Student Association. And so I reached out to the president. The president, she reached back out to me, and she was like, oh no, she didn't reach out to me. There was a club fair that was going on. And so at the club fair, I was like, okay, I was looking for the Black Student Association, you know, like, where are they? And so then I came across this Hispanic club, and I realized that the girl that was, you know, there behind, kind of like helping out with the booth and stuff, she was the president of the Black Student Association that I reached out to, but she didn't email me back. And I was like, okay, what's going on? I was like, your name is familiar. Aren't you the president? She was like, oh yeah. And she was like, well, you know what, this semester I stepped down, and we're looking for a new president now. I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe I can find somebody for you, because I knew somebody in my transfer group, you know, he was a black guy. And I was like, you know, and he had a really great personality, and he was really outgoing and all that type of stuff. I was like, you know, he'd be a great president for the Black Student Association. So I reached out to him, and then he was like, no, I don't want to do it. He was like, why don't you do it? And I was like, what? Listen, okay, I'm not outgoing. I'm just not. And at this time, I was not, like, really a leader. Like, you know, I was not in a leadership, you know, mentality. You know, I'm new here. I don't know nobody. I don't know. And so he was like, he told me, like, if you're the president, I'll be the vice president. I was like, okay, cool. So I went back to her. I was like, okay, I'll be the president. I found a vice president. We can do this thing. And so all of a sudden, bam, I became the president of the Black Student Association there. And so I whipped up a team. Like, there's this one girl, Stephanie, I love you. She joined. And then we had another girl, Brooke, who oh my gosh, I'm gonna start crying because I miss these people. Brooke, and then we had Rogelio, my boy Rogelio, and then of course, well, Adam, he was the vice president. So it was us, like, we were part of the board, and we kicked this thing off, you know. Every Thursday night we met. We had meetings. We talked about being black on campus, and we just talked about so many different things. And we had a movie night. We had events and things like that. And it was at that moment I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, you know, I'm actually, like, meeting people and connecting with people. But to be completely honest, when I would go back to my dorm room, I would just feel still, like, so lonely and so empty and depressed. And this is a time when, like, my depression got horrible. I didn't have, like, any suicidal thoughts or anything. I just didn't want to do anything. Like, I just wanted to stay in bed and do nothing. I didn't do my homework. I didn't do anything. I only hung out with just a few people. I did end up becoming close with, you know, 2 guys on my floor. Shout out to Asa and Alan. You guys are amazing. And Daniel, my roommate, my old roommate. You know, you guys are amazing. And one of my RAs, Josh. Shout out to all you guys. Anyway, so I still, you know, at IHOP, we were all going on the same journey at IHOP. So I knew so many people. I had so many friends, you know, I had a freaking Christian Project X party thrown for me where there were over 100 people. I went from that to, you know, Biola. There's not a lot of black people. I mean, there's not a lot of black people at IHOP, but it was different. You know, I come to Biola, there's not a lot of black people. These kids seem a little off. And I didn't have, you know, that many friends. You know, I didn't have that many people to hang out with. And sometimes, like, I depend so much on other people, you know, to be happy or to be comfortable and things like that. You know, I'm not the type of person to branch out. Even to this day, you just gotta come to me. I was just dwelling so much on that, and, you know, not having a lot of friends, not having a lot of people to talk to, and there'd be moments where I would cry. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, like, this is not cool, this is not fun, I'm not enjoying this, my time, you know, I got really, really low. And for some reason, at this point, I would not read my Bible either. Like, I wouldn't do nothing but just lay in bed, like, just lay down, not do my homework or anything like that. And, you know, and I just focused on, you know, other things. So at the end of the semester, I ended up flunking out. They kicked me out. They said, you know, because my grade point average was very, very low, and they gave me options. They said I could, you know, go to a different school, bring up my GPA, and then come back, or write an appeal letter. So I was like, oh gosh, no, I can't. Because I love California so much, and I wanted to stay there. Even though I was having even though I had a horrible time, I was like, you know, whatever. I wrote an appeal letter, and then they accepted the appeal letter, and I told them I'll do better. And then come to find out, I couldn't pay for the tuition for the fall, so I had to go back home, stay home, save up money so I can come back in the beginning of 2016. So I have all this stuff working against me. I felt like coming into the school, you know, in the middle of the year was already hard. People were already making friends. Not a lot of black people. Me not being very outgoing. And also, I forgot to tell you guys this. There was like a dorm-wide event that happened, and I tried to branch out to people, but they looked at me like I was crazy. Another instance in my first semester, I was in my dorm room, and outside of my dorm room, I heard people yelling nigger, like loud, nigger. I'm like, whoa, like, what is this? What kind of school am I, what have I put myself into? But yeah, I still wanted to, you know, come back because I love California, I love LA. So the next semester in 2016, January 2016, I came back, and I ended up, I was on the floor with the people I mentioned before, Alan, Asa, and Josh. You know, we were suite mates because we became really, really close, really, really cool, you know, hung out all the time and all that stuff. My transfer friends, they already branched out. Like, they had groups of friends. It was a wrap. I just had Alan, Asa, and Josh. Mainly Alan and Asa. You know, I didn't really have anybody else. The BSA, we changed to the Black Student Alliance, by the way. Black Student Alliance, it just died. It disintegrated when I left. I was like, really? I was like, okay. So when I came back, they were like, okay, let's bring it back up. And I was like, okay, sure, but I don't want to be the president this time. And they were like, okay. So I ended up, you know, I don't know. At this time, I didn't really care. I was just like, okay, I have people that I can talk to, whatever. But we still weren't as cool or close as we were when I was there my first semester. So this semester, it just ended up becoming, I don't know, I don't know what we were doing, to be completely honest, with the BSA. Like it was just interesting. At this point, there were people who didn't even go to school anymore that I used to talk to, and it was just like a lot of friendships and relationships just disintegrated at this point. And I was like, okay, I was way more lonelier, and I was like, what is this? Like, what have I got myself into? Like, this is crazy. So BSA was just a flop that whole semester, to me at least. I don't know about the rest. No offense, you guys, but yeah, it was just a flop. Wasn't much going on. The cool thing is, though, I met a few cool new people who were just so amazing, and there were a lot of people that were really passionate. At this point, I wasn't really passionate about like social justice issues. I would just sit around. Me, I'm a thinker. It takes me a long time to think and to process things before I actually say stuff. So it was really, really difficult for me to really show passion about like different issues, things like that. So we had planned on an event with another organization on campus, and it just fell through the cracks. I felt like I was worthless because I didn't know how to contribute. Because one thing, as I told you, I'm not outgoing. I don't like to talk, especially when it came to these issues. I was just like, ugh, and the depression hit worse. And I don't think they really realized that at the time, but the depression was horrible. Was terrible, especially since they, had their thing going on. Like me, I wasn't feeling that, I was just there. And I just felt, and I mean, there would be times I tried to talk and things like that, but there were times I just didn't feel heard, and I was just like, me, I've always been the underdog in my life. I've always been the underdog. I've always been the one that was talked over, looked over, things like that, because of my shyness, my quietness, and things like that. So, I was like, okay, whatever. I'm just here to be here so I can have people to talk to. So, then there was an incident where a student drew a swastika on a black student dorm room door, and his room was Jewish, so like a Jewish and a black student's dorm room door. They drew a swastika. And that changed a lot of things in my perception of Biola, even though it was pretty bad at that point. I mean, these kids were just off the wall, just insane. And I am no saint. I know I'm no saint. I'm a human being, okay? These kids were just, I don't know. There was the racism on the campus really reared its ugly head when this happened. And at that point, I don't know. I was just like, I was shocked, because I'm like, seriously? You come to this campus, and like, this is a Christian college. Being saved and being a Christian, you have to be loving, because how do you think it is when everybody goes to heaven? It's going to be an array of people. It's not just going to be white people. So that happened, and the BSA decided, you know what, we are going to protest. We had the association with Black Lives Matter. We were ready to like really protest this. And on top of that, this is like another really, really long story. And I know I've been talking for like almost 30 minutes now. But the administration was just not really doing anything, wasn't really helping. There was not a lot of support with the BSA. Like, we were really seen as the bad guys. We were seen as, the troublemakers, things like that, because we were really trying to get a point across and trying to make a difference on Biola's campus. Which to this day I don't think has really changed much, but whatever. They decided to come up with demands and, have meetings and just really talk about this. And at this time, like I said, I wasn't there. Like, I was not passionate as I am now. And, because I was going through my own personal issues that nobody knew about. I was very, 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 very depressed. I was not happy. with anything that was going on. At this point, I was like, bump homework, bump going to class. I'm just gonna lay in bed and cry all day. It was bad. It was bad. It was bad. My whole mood, my whole attitude, terrible. Okay, I just was not in a good space. I was not in a good place. I was not in a good mood. There was a lot going on. And so, they moved forward, and, I would just sit there, and I would just be like, and even at one point, they're like, well, why are you here? Why are you here? Like, there's no purpose in you. They didn't really say that, but that's kind of what they meant. And I was just like, I don't know, guys, I've been going through things. Like, I just haven't, and I told them I've been depressed. They're like, okay, we understand that, but step it up. I'm like, you don't understand, it's bad. So, we protested, and, we sent our demands out, and, they gave us a slap in the face, and, at this point I was like, whatever. So, there was a situation that I was in that didn't go very well. I don't really want to explain all of that, but at the end of that, it was when I was like, okay, this is it. I gotta read my Bible. I have to spend time with God, because this is not it, and I should have been doing this the whole time. So every night, late at night, I would go outside when there was like nobody around, and I would just sit and just read my Bible and highlight scriptures and things like that. And I was going through loneliness, I was going through depression, not realizing that there was somebody there for me the whole time. There was somebody there for me the whole time that I could have talked to. That was Jesus. He was there for me the whole time, and I did not recognize that. I did not acknowledge that. The whole time I had somebody there for me, the whole time. And I know it may sound cliche and stuff, but I'm like, dang, Jesus, I'm sorry. You've been there, When you feel lonely, God is right there. He's always going to be there for you. He's always going to be there for you. This life is so not easy. It's just not easy. But when you open up your Bible and you just really realize the awesomeness of God and how amazing God is, that changes everything. And so I started doing that. And this was the end of the semester where I was already failing every class, so it was just too late at this point. But, I was like, okay, so what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I expected to get another email, saying I'm no longer welcome, I can write an appeal, whatever. And I was like, you know what? I don't know. I was like, I really don't know. So I came home. I decided I was not going to attend Bible anymore, because that's just not the place for me. I just started realizing, the only reason why the main reason why I wanted to go to Bible is to just get away from my parents and to separate myself from my parents, because I want to do my own thing. And you can't run away from the things that God wants for you. So, you know what? I was like, okay, I'm going to spend more time with God. And, doing that helped. Reading my Bible helped. Realizing my purpose and my place here on earth helped. Now, I don't have many friends now. There's not a lot of people I hang out with. Believe it. I really don't hang out with people like that. I don't have a lot of friends. It's the same people. It's different. But I don't feel that loneliness anymore. I don't feel that depression, because I know that God is there with me. I mean, there are moments when I do get depressed and where I do feel low and things like that, but knowing that I have somebody there for me to talk to, it's amazing, and that changes everything. When you're lonely, when you're depressed, who can you go to? Who can you turn to? God. I mean, He's always going to be there. He's literally everywhere you go. That's all you need. So, yeah, man. it makes a difference. And I really hope that, you know, I can encourage you guys to really step out in faith, you know, and read your word. And whenever you're going through depression and loneliness, you know, even me being such an introvert and such a shy individual, knowing that I can turn to him, you know, and even ask God to help you with, you know, being outgoing and, you know, branching out and talking to people. He can help you out with that. You know, me, once you get to know me, I'm very outgoing, especially if I'm in a crowd of people who I am comfortable with and people who I know. I branch out and I am crazy. Okay? I'm crazy. I'm a very interesting individual, and you guys have probably already found that out. You know, it's cool, like me talking to the camera and doing this type of stuff because I'm comfortable with doing this type of stuff, you know, but outside it's a different story. That's just a little bit about my time in California and just, you know, the things that I went through. And you know, it was rough, but it made me who I am today, and I don't regret it. To an extent, it was a, I don't even want to say it was a waste of time, but sometimes I feel like it was a big waste of time, but you know, that's how it is. But I'm doing better. I am doing better, and I pray that you guys do better too. Alright guys, I've talked for 30 minutes, my throat is sore, I'm gonna rest, okay? I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching. Until next time, whoo! See ya!